it's insensitive, but at the same time we have to sort of make sure that we do protect freedom of speech, because then it allows us to sort of come back and criticise and even perhaps sort of joke about other people. So it's a very grey area to discuss.
You've got to just laugh at everything, haven't you? The state of the world just now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am here on Water Street in Liverpool, where everyone will know what happened here last week during the Liverpool parade. But I'm here because 1 week ago, Andrew Lawrence, a comedian whose comedy is best described as dark, confrontational, probably politically charged, very much targeting wokeness and the progressive ideologies of today, made a joke about the Liverpool parade incident, in particular a swipe at Liverpool and it being a bit of a shithole, my French. But since then he's taunted Scousers every day on his X page. Now, I don't usually like rising to this type of thing, as it's deliberately provocative, caught in controversy, and gives him the attention that he so desperately wants. But why I'm doing this today is not really because of him, but more because of the response, mainly from people, albeit not from Liverpool, who claim the city often plays the victim and is the world centre of self-pity. So I'm here today to ask, is it right that Liverpool should take offence to this joke, or are we thin-skinned and overly sensitive Scousers? Let's go and ask some people. Jade, the joke from Andrew Lawrence, did you think it was funny?
I didn't think it was, no. I think it was said a bit too close to the time that it happened, and people were obviously still recovering from injuries and stuff, and for him to say that so close to when it happened was just a bit insensitive, I think.
So you think the timing of it was wrong?
Yeah, definitely.
So do you think if he'd left it like another week, he might have got away with it a bit?
I think he would have got away with it slightly more, yeah.
Rick, you're from Scotland.
Aye.
What did you think of the joke?
I mean, I'll kind of find any kind of humour funny, maybe a bit close to the time, but I mean, you've got to just laugh at everything, haven't you? The state of the world just now. Luckily nobody died.
How did you find Andrew Lawrence's joke? Very funny?
No, it's quite offensive, to be honest with you, because it's a city and you're making fun of a tragedy that happened in a city during a time that's meant to be a celebration.
So do you think it was time? Do you think if you'd said it a week later it would have been okay?
Not at all. You can't make fun of a tragedy that people's families have been hurt in. It's not on whatsoever.
Ellis, did you find the joke funny at all?
No, not at all.
No?
It's disrespectful to like this city.
But do you think if you'd said it a week later, or do you think time's got nothing to do with it?
Time's got nothing to do with it, no.
I didn't find it funny. I think partly because it was part of the joke. I do agree with freedom of speech, but there are certain areas that do cross the line. When it comes to sort of things like tragedy and situations like we saw back on last Monday, I think it's insensitive, but at the same time we have to sort of make sure that we do protect freedom of speech, because then it allows us to sort of come back and criticise and even perhaps sort of joke about other people. So it's a very grey area to discuss. I must admit it's a bit beyond my intellect, but I get one side and I get the other side, if I'm honest.
I don't know whether this fella's getting ready for a fight or a night out, or maybe both. Do you think Liverpool has been thin-skinned, or do you think they have every right to be annoyed by these comments?
Well, I think we've been at the butt of a joke for a long time. We've been mocked in sort of sketches and comedies throughout our last sort of 30, 40 years of comedy. It's generalisation versus the individual, so it's the collective versus the individual. I can understand an individual who maybe was involved in that situation finding it personal. At the same time, if it's offending the collective, I have to sort of err on the side of saying that, well, yeah, I do agree with the joke in the wider context, but if I was in that incident, I wouldn't like it at all. So again, it's kind of freedom of speech versus the personal experience of one, I find.
So do you think Liverpool is thin-skinned, or do you think they have every right to be angry at the joke?
They have every right to be angry, yeah, but we shouldn't drop a riot over it, do you know what I mean? But it's definitely not to like take. You know what I mean?
Do you think Liverpool has took it the wrong way, or do you think the right to react the way they have?
The right, because again, you're making fun of a tragedy. It's people's friends, it's people's family. There was even kids in it. You can't make fun of something like that and expect a good reaction of anyone.
Do you think Liverpool was sensitive to it?
Liverpool's a city that will recover for anything. It's been shown before. Again, the time it's probably be a bit soon. I don't know enough of the city, but I'm assuming the greater victory and overall will be Liverpool will continue. You know what I mean? They'll build for it.
I don't think they were overreacting, because it was obviously a very serious thing that happened, and to sort of make jokes about it, I don't think they've overreacted.
I think there are two different entities that are involved here. I think comedy should always be protected. It depends on the sentiments of the individual giving the comedy, I believe. Again, we have to find out who that individual is, whether or not it's part of the collective, part of, do they just target certain groups like Scousers? If so, then I think that's questionable.
In the Euros, he did mention about whites were the only ones that scored the penalties as well.
Right,
so his humour is dark.
No, it is. I get that. I get that.
So does that change anything?
Involving racism? Yes, it does. No, I think it does to some extent. I mean, again, I probably wouldn't be the right person to discuss. Maybe somebody of black or person of colour, I think, would probably be a better person to sort of ask within that context. Again, it's going back to what I said before about generalising versus individualising.
What is the difference then between a race joke and a Scouse joke?
In one respect, Scousers are the minority.
Yeah.
Whereas groups like, say, the gay community, black community, they're a bigger scope. However, I suppose in some respects they've been more persecuted in history longer than Scousers maybe. I think, like I was saying before, I think with Scousers maybe it's the last 30, 40 years where it has been there has been an emphasis on the mockery within sketches and comedy. I mean, it goes back to sort of maybe even sort of Thatcher's period, where she sort of did come up with a lot of policies which did hurt the city. You have to ask yourself, would you be offended by the joke? And personally, I wouldn't be, because I need to have my own rights to express myself against any other group, if it's a joke or if it's an opinion about other people. Yeah. We've got to go down that angle, I'm afraid. If it means being mocked, if it means being sort of offended, then so be it. But we go down a very dark avenue when we start sort of saying you can't say that.
Cancelling. Yeah.
I think perhaps because Liverpool has been sort of more central to the kind of the mockery from outside and the stereotyping, I think it's easy to sort of feel, oh well, it is us, and it is. But we have to, as a city, we do have to take that on the chin of it if we are to sort of express ourselves against others.